Hello. Welcome to another conversation at Advocata Studio. And as you know, we are having conversations about things that matters to our economy and for your wallet. And definitely construction is one main area. And if you are in construction, tiling of your floor and sanitary ware is a big expenditure item if you are building a house, if you are building a shop or anything. So we got the right person at our studio, Mr. Vigneshwaran, who is the chairman of the Tile and Sanitary Ware Importers Association. Mr.
Hello.
Vigneshwaran, welcome.
Hello, Mr. Dana. Hi.
Thank you very much for spending
And
your time.
greetings to your viewership also on behalf of Tiles and Sanitary Ware Importers Association.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. How is business? How are things moving on after a import ban and COVID and crisis? How is it picking up to
So it's basically revival to survival.
revival to survival?
Basically, yeah. So we are, I think, last 4 years, I think 2020, in the mid part of 2020, restrictions were imposed. And I think in 2023, end of 2023, it was relaxed. The import restriction was relaxed. These 4 years have been a terrific time for the importers, and this has in fact retarded the construction industry or damaged the construction industry to a level where now the government, whoever is now controlling, they need a lot of homework to do to revive this industry. Ideally, this should not have happened in the first count. The restriction is not a good way of managing the economy. They should have come out with an alternative method in discussion with the stakeholders, which never happened. Instead, it was a decision which was randomly taken, and I think today we all are paying the consequences. Now it's almost in shorter sense, we have to say is patient debt, operation success.
That's what has happened. Patient did
Operation success. That's the status of construction industry.
Got it. So, Mr. Vigneshwaran, now on people's point of view, I know how. Just give us some overview of how the construction industry is comprised of. Whether it is like the domestic people who are building houses, small shops, and all that. Are they the main component of the construction industry, or is it like the big buildings, highways, or what comprise? And in terms of your sales, where the sales volume comes
As
from
far
mainly?
as our sector is concerned,
Hmm.
we can divide it into three
Mm-hmm.
sectors. One is the retail sectors.
Okay.
Uh, each of these sectors which I am mentioning creates a microeconomy.
Okay.
Okay, so one is a retail sector, and another one is a project sector,
Uh-huh.
and another one is a distribution sector.
Okay.
Okay, so if you take the retail sector, we are into the end consumers or homemakers or young couples who are aspiring to build their residences. This is taken care of by the retail sectors. And if you take care of the project sectors, this is more specialized sector where specifications are set, and we need to set the specifications, and we need to cater to the specifications. And we work with engineers, professionals, architects, and people like that. So this cater to the project sector. And if the distribution sector is island wide, where you can see very there are macro or micro economies created where our members or importers, they give credit to several other shop owners or holders, and they in turn give their sub distributors some credits, and by that way it's a massive economy which is running the show. And here also you can see masons and tile masons who are also able to employ under them a small set of people with skilled labors and people like that, who later on become contractors they themselves. So this is a long chain process where in it that's what I said, it should have not on the first count, a restriction should have not happened, because the magnitude of damages what has caused this is the reason for today's construction industry to be stagnant.
Understood.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Vigneshwaran, also before we go into hard questions, what is the composition of the, like, there are you represent the
Tile importers
tile importers and the
and
sanitary
sanitary
ware
ware
importers.
importers.
So in terms of, let's divide it to tiles and sanitary ware.
Okay.
When it comes to tile market, like what's like the volume for a year, and what is the composition? Is it mainly from, like, what is the percentage from import tiles, or what is the percentage of like the domestic sector?
Okay,
Any numbers?
let me explain you.
Yeah.
See, before COVID,
Okay.
pre-COVID, and after that, I'll come to the
Right.
current scenario. Before COVID, the market volume, that's what is your question, right?
Absolutely.
The market volume is about 1,000 containers of imports per month was done by importers.
1,000 containers
That's about 5 million US dollars per month.
month.
Okay,
1,000 containers per month.
1,000 containers per month. And it was 50-50. 1,000 containers equivalent volume was manufactured and supplied by the local
Right.
manufacturers. Okay. But what you have to understand here is there was a balance of 50-50 percentage, so that even the local industry was balanced and the importers also was given venue, so that the market organically it cures itself. There was no imposition of monopoly or anything like that, but irrespective of, almost 98% protectionistic taxes were given before COVID. Okay,
98%.
98% on tiles. Okay, and it was about 76%, you can say, on sanitary ware. Okay, later on, after the COVID restrictions, the famous scenarios of the prices of a 2 by 2 tile from 450 to 500 rupees pre-COVID, shooting up to 2,500 rupees with advance payment and waiting period of nearly almost 6 months. Okay, so these are all happened because of a wrong decision. So now after COVID, since already the market, the damages are already been done, and end of 2023 when the market was open back, when the imported tiles came drastically, the entire market, that's what I said, organically it cured itself and came down from 2,500 rupees to 815 to 1,000 rupees. That range, the tile market came down. And but sanitary ware, still the effect is there, because you have to understand the marketing of tiles and sanitary ware separately.
Okay.
The tiles, of course, is a voluminous product. Sanitary ware is not a voluminous product.
Right.
Okay, if you take tiles, for even for no one is going to buy one tile.
Yeah.
No one is going to buy, very rarely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if you take a sanitary ware, no one is going to buy 10,000 sanitary ware for a house.
Yeah. Unless it's a specific project
Yeah,
or
project is a different
story.
Okay, so considering those things, sanitary ware responded after COVID in a different way.
Right.
When a sanitary ware piece was about 15,000 rupees, today the sanitary ware is about 35,000 rupees. And the protectionism taxes have also, the government policymakers have increased drastically. See, tiles, I would say today it is 133%. Previously it was 98%. For sanitary ware, it was 76% previously. Now it's about 113%. All it has a cascading effect also on the taxation and tariffs, where VAT and social security levy reapplies to the CIF value, duty, everything again, and it gives a cascading effect. So better for the viewership, I don't want to complicate it. I just want to tell them in percentage. Previously it was 198%. Later on it escalated now currently to almost 133%, but still we brought down from 2,500 rupees to almost 850 to 1,000 rupees. So still they put more protectionism. We brought the selling price cheaper. So you can understand the amount of margins which would have played during the restricted time. So restriction was a blunder. And same way, there is something called, footrest cotton pants. So that is something where government has to encourage the hygiene of urban areas. Okay.
Yeah.
So that one, it from 62 percentage, they increased now to 146 percentage. So any policymakers, they need to take the numbers right, and they have to see first of all whether is it the tax they need to collect or to provide hygiene culture to the urban areas. So how can you increase from 62% to 146%? Are you encouraging hygienity or are you discouraging hygienity
This
here?
is on the food rest
Footrest coating pan
squatting
is the
pan.
lowest
Lowest, yeah.
range,
That's the
lowest
poorest of the
range,
poor who
poorest, yeah, who uses that? So at least that they can't be having a protectionism tax of 146%. No, they are almost 20% is the duty, and I think and 35 rupees per kg, either one, whichever is the highest is the duty component, and 50 rupees is the component of cess for a footrest coating pan. See, you support the local industry, but don't harm the consumers. You have to encourage the consumers. That's what we are fighting for, saying that if we always are requesting the government, don't put protectionism taxes. You instead give subsidy to the local manufacturer. Then the government will know the pain of subsidy. Now that pain is taken over by the consumers, no?
Yeah.
So when the consumers are paying the pain, the government is very comfortable. The minute government starts to give the subsidy from their pocket, anyway, from the revenue, what 133%, 113%, and 146%, we are giving revenue. No, from that they can give a subsidy to the local manufacturer. We are not against the local manufacturers. We want to coexist with the local manufacturers, but there is a limitation. You can't be giving a protectionism taxes forever. Now it's almost 3 decades this has been going on. It started with almost 50% or 40%. Now we are ending up to 146%, 133%, and 113%. This is ridiculous. That's what.
Uh, Thank you for that explanation, Mr. Vigneshwaran. So, can you explain? I know it's complicated. The cascading tax system. I mean, what do you mean? Like when you import a tile or a sanitary ware, there's a custom duty.
Yes. Can I explain
Yes, please.
for
Yes,
tile and
please, please. We'll
sanitary ware?
start with what tile?
Yeah,
Yes,
tile. See, 20% is the see, always the taxation is applied on CIF.
CIF.
Okay, so CIF value,
Yeah,
that is
CIF is the
insurance freight, cost insurance
freight.
freight, CIF value. So there is a 20% CID, they call it, customs duty, and there is PAL 10%,
Ports and aviation levy.
ports and aviation levy,
That's
and there is,
10%.
yeah, there is VAT 18%,
Right.
and then there is social security levy, SCL, that
Yeah.
is 2.5%.
Yeah.
The killer is the EIC or the cess.
Right.
Okay, the cess is 520 rupees per square meter is imposed on
Tiles.
tiles per square meter. Here VAT and social security levy, that plays a cascading taxes. So even on CIF, everything again VAT and SCL is also applied. So all put together cumulatively you get a taxation of about 133%. And sanitary ware, it is even worse. It for tiles it is 520 per square meter. For sanitary ware it is per kilo. It's about 100 rupees per kilo. So are we encouraging quality sanitary ware or are we discouraging quality sanitary ware? I don't know, because what they are encouraging us to bring down the low weight products. See, it is on the safety and basis also. You should not be keeping your taxation to discourage them bringing heavy products. It is always good, because some people building households are not every year.
They're
It
doing
is
it for a
lifetime.
lifetime.
It's lifetime. At least the sanitary products what we are bringing should be of good quality and things like that. Okay, and quality wise, I would say I would defend all my members, and it has been vouched by the few reports what we have taken from the Sri Lanka Standard Institution also. According to them, the recent reports what we received, because there has been several times there has been an accusation from the
Exactly. That's what I was going to about. Like people are complaining that okay, these import tiles are just I mean not up to the quality
no,
standards
it's
and
not
there's
the
no
people.
quality.
It's not the people. It has been branded by the local manufacturers that the imported tiles are, we are bringing rubbish. They have given it in certain newspaper and things like that. So what we did, see, we have been collaborating with Sri Lanka Standard Institution as a responsible chamber also. With our membership, we are giving them regular training, and we have been updating their knowledge on purchase of tiles and quality parameters. And according to the recent report data what we received from SLSI, The reject percentage from 2019 to 2024 is 0.01%, which means 99.99% of our product adheres to the quality standard set. So, in no way you can say a misleading statement saying that imported tiles are rubbish. So, that is the see, and there again, I wish to say that SLS is not compulsory for local manufacturers. For tile importers, is 100% mandatory. So, at the customs point itself, you cannot withdraw without giving the samples.
Got it. So you assure the quality of sanitary ware plus tiles that it is up to the solid standard.
Exactly.
And what is the measurement process? Like, how do you measure a quality of a tile or a sanitary ware? Can you explain like how this is being done, whether it is done at the customs or and how, I mean, if a person even goes to the market and check whether it's up to standard, I don't know whether
See,
they.
internationally, there is ISO standard. That's what they adopt in Sri Lanka as SLS 1181 standard. It is
Right,
internationally, the standards are same.
right.
So, if you take for tiles, there are several parameters
Mm-hmm.
like surface parameters, the dimensional parameters, strength, MOH value we call it, strength parameters, water absorption. See, a tile, a tile can be, the variety of the tile can be divided based on the water absorption.
Mm-hmm.
The lesser the water absorption, the quality is better.
Right.
Okay, we call it porcelain tile. Any tile less than 0.5 percentage water absorption, we call it porcelain tile. There are category, any tile between 3 to 5% water absorption, there are different categories of tile more than 5 percentage water absorption. So based on that, it's called porcelain, ceramic. See, if a project, they specify what they need. So even as a consumer who wants to build a tile, at least if they are not appointing or taking the advice of any architects or engineers in the inside that, at least today in Google it is available how to buy a tile. It's easily available, and what parameters they need to follow. See, you can while purchasing a tile, you have to look at two parameters. One is aesthetics, one is functionality. What do you mean by aesthetics? Is look. You can't put a dark tile in a area where your walls are very it's not blending with the process, or the way your lighting is very bad. Also, aesthetics is one thing which architects are masters for that, but still even a consumer can today from Pinterest or anything like that, they also can do the job as far as if he is very economically looking at controlling his cost. On the other side, functionality is something which consumers has to take into account, because there are certain parameters under functionality like safety. See, there are specifications which says what is the slip resistance of the tile, what is the traffic of the tile which can take, is the tile antibacterial. So these are the parameters on the functionality basis they have to take. So uh, while purchasing a tile, it's better they do some research on what is the functionality of the tile, how to choose a tile. So you can't put a high gloss tile on an outdoor area with Sri Lanka prone to raining almost every other day, and you have to keep your elders insured then.
Right.
That's
Got it.
yeah.
So, fine. So you assure the quality, and but it's according to you 133% on tiles and
113%
7%
on
on sanitary
sanitary
ware.
ware.
So after COVID, after the crisis, you said it's earlier about 50 containers a month, right? Imports of tiles.
1,000
Sorry,
containers.
1,000 containers. I beg your pardon.
5 million US dollars
5
we
million
have
US
been spending.
dollars, a
Yeah,
1,000 containers a month. Now, after COVID, now has it been
it has
recovered?
reduced.
It has
It has
reduced.
reduced. Now we can say about 3.5 million US dollars, about 600 containers or 700, 600 containers we have reduced, because the construction
Action in
activities have retarded. That's the reason.
Got it. Now, let's come to hard questions. I mean, people, I don't know, people, or there was an accusation that the importers under invoice
Okay.
to avoid taxation. Or and there was, I think, across not only for importers, exporters, there was another accusation that you hide the dollars overseas. How do you respond to this?
Okay, this is a fantastic question because as a chamber, we have not only collaborated with SLS, we have also collaborated with Sri Lanka Customs also. We wanted to bring a standardization or stability in the market. Okay, although some procedure which we are currently adopting for almost last 5 years with the Sri Lanka Customs, for 5 years or 10 years we are adopting this, we have brought something called a slab rate. A slab rate in the sense, even if our purchasing price is $2 or $2.50 or something like that, we keep a higher slab rate value and we pay the duty. Even today it is under existent, but legally it is not right. According to WTO, World Trade Organization, this is not a good practice because negotiations cannot be defined or picked as a one standard rate. What WTO says is negotiation capacity differs with people, buying capacity. So you can't have, the customs have to find out the authenticity of the negotiation, they have to accept the value. But as a responsible chamber, we took the initiative because we don't want this accusation to happen. And also, see, when this happens, not only our market stability, price stability is getting a hit, even the local manufacturers are getting a hit. So we have come out with a solution that, for example, you take a 2 by 2 tile. If we are buying a 2 by 2 tile, as today we are buying, let's say $2.50, we are paying duty for $3.10, which is not justifiable.
So
But when
tile cost is $2.5, but your
paying duty, slab
duties
rate,
are 3.10
3.10 we are paying the duty for.
duties.
In that way the market is stable, it's applicable. See, in fact it's technically called we are being overpriced in that sector. But to avoid this accusation and this practice of the people saying that under invoicing involved, you can check with Sri Lanka Customs and what is this procedure for the statement what I am giving. There is no under invoicing happening right at the moment, and it's we have brought it. We have along with the membership, we have taken this effort to streamline all these things so that now there is no necessity for under invoicing at all.
Any dollars hidden overseas? Because then people say that
Why
you.
do you need $2 overseas when you're over they are over you're paying pay order for $310 and my cost is only $2.50? Why should we hide it overseas? I
uh,
can as well declare, if it is my price is going up, I can as well declare. And even that slab rate, the customs is just not just like that they are accepting it. They also do a due diligence with the export market. They also do some intelligence on what is the value, everything, and they make sure if the value is they also know the rate is $250, that they also make it $310 because they also want the revenue.
Okay. Now the other challenge, or like the question, I will say the accusation or the
Okay.
complaint has been on the whether are you paying all the taxes. Like you mentioned about the tariff, but when it comes to VAT and local other taxes applicable,
No,
it
I
could be the
remember. I
income
can
taxes.
I can
Yes.
understand the question because there was another accusation also recently in a newspaper where it was clearly mentioned that local, I mean the importers are not paying VAT. See, you have to understand the customs tariff you can't avoid. You have to pay the entire
Yeah.
tariff and you have to come out.
Yeah.
Okay. Here there is a foolproof method which customs tariff department has already set up. When you calculate the this VAT component, they are not charging on the CIF value 18%. What they do, value plus 10% margin, onto that 10% margin, that's almost 1.1 times of the value, they are applying the VAT formula.
Yeah.
So here why do they do that is they are making pretty sure that we get a 10% margin. See, what these people are accusing us is after sales VAT nobody is paying. See, there could be a gray market in every trade. It is there, not only in tiles. There could be a small percentage of gray market here and there, but today the inland revenue department is also doing their duty, right? And day by day the taxes are also their collection is also improving. But what I am saying is, when the value plus 10% margin has been included, and onto that the value, the VAT formula is applied, you are automatically, it's a foolproof method, you are keeping a 10% of the margin is already been, VAT has been already applied to that. So in no way that is going to affect a local manufacturer, you can't say that. Maybe local manufacturer thinking the VAT we are not paying, we are in fact after sales VAT we are advancing a 10% of our margin at the point of customs itself.
So do you mean to say that the custom applies when they you mentioned about the cascading tax system? So you first you have the custom duty, then you have PAL, and then you have cess, and then you have VAT. So when they apply VAT, do you mean to say that they apply VAT on CIF value plus 10%?
Exactly.
But
So
how can you do that? Because if the CIF value is declared, why you mentioned they add 10% to make it
say
foolproof?
after sales VAT is something to get the VAT component on our sales margin.
Okay.
Okay, so here they are assuming
That you're keeping a 10% sales
10%, at least a minimum margin of 10% is already been kept. So there itself they are charging us the VAT component already been, it's like your tax has been advanced previously for our 10% margin. Only if whatever the margins we make more than the 10%, only after sales component will come there. So that accusation is very, it's needless to say that. See, when you give a misleading statement like that, saying no importers are paying VAT means, see, after I explain, you understand we are already advancing the tax component. But when you, without my explanation, if you think about the statement, it will be very clear. You will be thinking, importers are not paying VAT to the country at all. You know what is our revenue to this country from this sector? It is 1.8 billion. Only on tiles, 1.3 billion. Cumulative on this sector, sanitary ware and other fixtures and fittings put together, 1.8 billion we are paying per month
as taxes.
as taxes.
You mean tariffs?
Tariff taxes.
1.8 billion.
Yes.
Okay.
That's, I think, justifiable, a reasonable contribution to the economy.
Got it. So then let's come to the saving of dollars. You mentioned that the import value is about 5 million US dollars a month.
A month, exactly. That was pre-COVID. Now
That's
about 3.5 million.
3.5 million. So
Yeah.
people say that if you manufacture it locally, you can save about 3.5 million or 5 million, which comes to about like 60 million US dollars a year. So that isn't that a reason why we should encourage local manufacturing instead of importing tiles?
No, actually, the foreign exchange losses is more by manufacturing tiles in Sri Lanka. Okay, we will give an explanation because one of our member, and he is the vice president of our association also, he initiated to setting up a factory in Sri Lanka. So he has already done the diligence of all the reporting as to set up a factory. He in fact ordered the machineries, setting up the factory buildings, everything, and later he divested to different industries. So feasibility, first of all, the feasibility did not work. Okay, I'll tell you. Uh, you know the famous statement what the local manufacturers give to any policymakers or any news media is 80% of the raw material is available in Sri Lanka. Okay, according to the vice president and his reports what we studied, it is by volume. It is by volume. Okay, so 80% could be is available according to the report what we saw, but it is only on the volume of the tiles produced and not on the value of the tiles produced.
You mean the ingredients availability is about
80%.
80%?
If you say take the value of it, it's only 18%, 18 to 20% only. Okay, so I will, let me explain you, because I also saw the statistics what was available to me. It is like feldspar, ball clay, calcite, and these are the raw materials available in Sri Lanka. Talc and all these are available in Sri Lanka. So these are accumulating to about 0.35 cents per square meter to produce 1 square meter of
$0.35
dollars
per square meter raw material cost.
raw material cost. And although you have this locally, like the finishing product, like the glazing, polishing, and all these products, it's costing about $1.35, okay, which we need to import. And most importantly, fuel, the gas is a big component of production as far as tiles is concerned. That is taking about $1.5 to $2. So if you take the value of the product, okay, what we are seeing here is it's only 18% of the product, the raw material is available in Sri Lanka. If you take the imported products, I told you $2 for gas and $1.35 for it's about $3.35 something we are talking about for importing the materials to complete a product. To after you to bake and finish the product, the tile you need, but you can get a finished product from abroad for $2.50. So, boasting that we want to put a local manufacturer tile, what we are doing is we are literally losing the foreign exchange of well over one and a, this is without the overheads, without the overheads, even the local labor. Here we have not included the local labor cost also, and even the other overheads like administrative cost on all those things we have not taken up, the factory maintenance and all those things. So without that even, I think what we saw was a $2.50 what we can procure from overseas. The local manufacturers are manufacturing at $6 approximately. So here, do you see we are burning the foreign exchange, or who is burning the foreign exchange?
Okay. So basically what you say is the energy cost is the main imported
Yes,
cost item in a tile. If you even when you buy the tile, it is not the weight of the tile, it is the cost components of the tile where the
value.
cost
Yes,
or the value,
yeah,
and the value mainly comes on, like, you call it the burning or baking the tile, which is the energy cost
energy cost.
that is
Exactly,
comes, and
exactly.
energy cost is mainly coming from the LP gas, from which is anyway has to be
Imported.
imported.
Yeah.
What are the source markets, and why a tile is so cheap? Now I'm just trying to understand why a local, okay, for the local manufacturers it's the energy cost, but when you import, how come it be that drastic difference, whether it's a labor cost in overseas, and from where do you mainly import? Because people, I mean, what I have heard is like it's the Italian bath or Italian tiles are the best. So where actually do you import, and why their cost factors are so low?
See, actually, two major countries are only dominating the tile industry. That is China and India. And yes, Italy, those are, as I said, the project based, specification based, quality based, where specialized products are coming from those countries because they have matured their product line.
Mm-hmm.
That's the correct word. You could see the voluminous market is one. End of the day, you mature the product
Product line.
line to gain more margins.
Right.
So the Italians, the Europeans, and all those people have gone to that sector.
So more customized, like a very high
The
value.
high value products, replacement of look-alike like marble, natural marble, and mosaics.
Yeah.
So all those things are high value items which they are almost moving towards that. But in the voluminous market, if you take India and China, why they are dominating is because of the price factor. Okay, if you are buying, let's say that these raw materials are what I told you, which was contributing to about $1.35, like glazing material, ink, and all those things. When you buy for three factories in Sri Lanka, there are about thousand plus factories in India. So the buying capacity, you get me.
Mm.
So the cost of that is very cheap for them. Even the gas, when they buy in volumes, the cost is cheaper for them, wherein we don't have the market size for even these factories to even sustain, okay, or compete. So we have some problem here with our cost.
So that's why Indian tiles and Chinese tiles are more
more
competitive.
more actually, China is more cheaper than India, but freight component, logistical freight component, it's double. If you take $400 from India, it takes about $1,000 from
China
China. So that component, since it's a highly a competitive product,
product.
so there India has a better edge.
Interesting. Okay, then the next okay, you addressed a few accusations or like complaints, I would say.
Okay.
Quality, the raw material, and the taxes, and under invoicing and savings of the dollars. But isn't also our local manufacturers export? Because I have seen a lot of advertisements that they export, and isn't aren't they actually aren't they even serving a unique or a niche market? Isn't it
They
true?
are, they are. I don't deny that. They are. We also have seen the data. They are exporting. But what is the volume? If they are, if you take the production, the capacity of their thing, they are almost, it's very negligible percentage they are exporting out of Sri Lanka. That too, I don't say their products are bad or anything like that, because they also have their products fan base in certain overseas countries also. Still they prefer some of their tiles, like Australian market and Euro American markets, or also they are doing that. Okay, so I think government should look at giving them more subsidy rather than giving them protectionism, and increase their bandwidth on that. And subsidy, if they can provide and give them a helping hand to capture at least 1 or 2% of the Indian market also, yes, we want to coexist with them. I restate the same thing. We are not looking at them like, in a way that they shouldn't survive or anything like that, because to build an industry, to build an employment, it is, we have to have a mutual respect. So we have that definitely, but we are only hurt by the mutuality what they offered us in the last 4 years.
I understand. I understand. It has been challenging because when you increase
No,
the
literally
tariff, yeah,
suspended.
just
Literally
suspended.
suspended. What happened to our all the team and the employment forces what we were holding on building for last 2 decades? They never addressed that. Neither the government took the responsibility to address that. And what about the rentals we have to pay? What about the bank loans we have to pay? What about the vehicle fleets, clearing agents? It's a very big story.
Got it. So, okay, so you have cleared a lot of, I would say, people's complaints.
Acquisition, is it?
Yes, people's complaints. Also, wanted to understand now, isn't there a conversation with the government on this sector? Because it is, I mean, you mentioned you have the retail sector, you have the or like the special project sector, and you have
Wholesale
wholesale sector,
distribution sector. Yeah.
distribution sector. So isn't there a conversation with the government on like on bringing down tariffs or at least changing cess? Because there was a conversation of phasing out para tariffs some time ago, but I think it didn't work out well, and then there was Easter attack and COVID and everything happened. Where's the conversation with the government? Aren't they aware of this?
See, government. I don't know the clarity of their statement. They have told that they are looking at a production-based economy. This is one of the policy. What they are saying is production-based economy. See, what they have to understand is they have to understand what type of production, select the industry suitable for our country. For example, tile sector. Let me take. Okay, we don't have a land bank like India, China, or any other country. We don't have a. It's a small island, a beautiful island with the fertile soil or land we have. Okay, I think you are aware of Google Scholars. So
Yes,
okay, if
yes.
you go to Google Scholars and if you type any papers about tile industry in Sri Lanka, there is a paper which has been published by uh, uh, three professors from the Peradeniya University. Okay, in 2019, one Mr. Kamalakannan, Mr. Kulatunga, and Mr. Piris. These are the three gentlemen who have. What they say is, for to produce 1 square meter of tiles, it emits 0.142 kg of carbon
Dioxide. Okay.
dioxide to the atmosphere, and they have very clearly stated in the paper that tile industry is not suitable for Sri Lanka. This has been submitted in their industrial paper in Thailand. Okay, so which is Google Scholar is not restricted to only tile association. Even local manufacturers, they can see that, or whoever the policymakers can see that. So what here is, see, when you are 80% of the masses, 80% of the raw materials on the volume, I said it is available in Sri Lanka. When you start to excavate, it doesn't become a fertile land. You're killing the fertile. It's like, searching for gold, you lose the diamond. You have a wonderful tourism industry in Sri Lanka. Okay. After you excavate the land and it becomes a pit, what are we going to leave it? So which industry you can promote production based economy in Sri Lanka, but look at the consequences. The policymakers should study papers like what is put up in the Google Scholars and all these things. What is the environmental effect it has on our next generation? And irrespective of it, are we saving dollars or are we losing dollars? All these statistics have to be analyzed and they have to arrive at a figure. And once again, I missed out on one thing. Since you asked about the under invoicing, there's one thing I think I can mention it here.
Yeah, yeah.
See, most of the customs are now linked to our Sri Lanka customs. I mean, the overseas customs. We have something called Ice Gate in India. If you take it, there's something called Ice Gate. Ice Gate is their online system of filing shipping bills, everything by any Indian exporter. That has 100% access. They have been given 100% access to the Sri Lanka customs. So whatever the export bill, it is visible by the Sri Lanka customs here. They can have a look at it. What is the valuation? What is the product? What is the HS code? Because we see, even the Indian government is not giving up easily on their filing of export bills. They also check the authenticity, everything. So here we can't be changing the documents also for any malpractice or anything like that. So every custom they are doing. They are even checking the ice skates also and checking this is not only for tiles. Every product ice skate is available.
Coming back to the VAT questions, I understand that you pay a VAT at the point of importation, and you mentioned that even the VAT is being paid at the CIF value plus
10%
10%.
margin.
But how is the legality at the, because generally for if you are an organization who makes a revenue, I really cannot recall the number, I think more than 5 million per month, if I'm not mistaken, I think
Yeah,
60 million per year,
yeah,
then you are falling above the, I mean, the VAT threshold.
yes.
So if you are okay, I understand that you pay and it's unfair, but is there a case that someone can claim that okay, that's true that you pay the VAT at the point of importation and it's on 10%, but is there a case that in terms of an inland revenue point of view, that if your businesses, most of your tile importers or the retail sector businesses are not falling, and when you import, probably you will be putting it in a hardware, so if even the hardware was falling above 5 million per sale, so they have to charge VAT. Is there a case for someone to argue
See,
on that?
see, we have control on only on our membership. See, we import, our members are registered VAT payers, and we have files. You get me? We have registered VAT registration number or TIN number with VAT registration number. Everything is there for our members. You are talking about our sub dealers, is it?
Yeah,
Is that what you're
sub
saying?
dealers, or even like when you when you sell to the let's say the hardware store or the retail store somewhere, do you still charge a VAT? Because
Yeah, of course.
you charge the VAT,
We have to charge VAT.
you have to charge
We
VAT.
have to charge VAT.
Okay, and then you can claim it from your input VAT against
Input
the.
VAT, what we have paid at the customs, we deduct that, and until that 10% margin, what they, that threshold we overtakes that, then we are subsequently coming to a payment to the inland revenue, which is happening. Because see, there, that's what I said, gray scale or gray market is there in every segment. Okay, we have no authority to control. For that, it's the duty of the inland revenue department or the VAT department to take care of that, which they are doing that also, because they are sending letters, and we as a responsible chamber, we in fact wrote to the Inland Revenue Department asking them to stop the temporary VAT also, because there's something called
Temporary one.
temporary VAT. Because we also saw the temporary VAT, there are chances, but most of our members are not temporary VAT members.
Got it. So, in terms of your businesses, you mentioned it mainly coming from the specific specialized projects. When it comes to tile market, whether it's from for projects or whether it's a retail sector, what's the split looks like? You mentioned
No,
three categories
currently projects is down.
down. So
Okay,
there's
currently projects is down, even retail is down. Only the distribution is happening now. But it's seasonal. See, there every season one sector picks up.
okay.
It's not it's not uniform.
Just give an overview of like what's the season like for
See,
most.
we have two seasons. One is December
Okay,
season. Another one is coming up is April.
April. So
So
people when
these
they
are,
get bonuses
yeah,
and all that.
bonuses and things like that. That is the time this happens.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And the industrial, it's completely different based on the other cycles. Is it also is you do you observe a seasonal impact on the
Not
projects?
no seasonal in the sense. See, now rooms, there is a severe, the government is projecting a tourist arrival of so many numbers. Let's say they set a target. So rivers, they have to build so many rooms. So when you are building so many rooms, that
Then
automatically gets escalated. But up to now, that sector has, after COVID, it has not started to show any positive signs. But we are hopeful, because it has to happen when government is starting to invest on airport, and they want to start invest on tourist arrivals. You definitely need rooms. And there again, here one more point coming to sanitary ware. Thanks for reminding me of the tourism sector. See, tourism sector, it's very important what type of tourism sector Sri Lanka is focusing on. Okay, for example, you can take for instance Maldivian style, where they have resorts, very high value tourism they are trying to invest in. See, we are just now, we are halfway through with the backpackers, and halfway, I'm not saying backpackers should not be encouraged or anything like that, but we need spending tourists, am I right?
yeah.
For the country's economy,
Yeah.
we need
Everyone
spend.
is saying that you have to attract high spend
but
tourists, not
but
the
do you
backpackers. Yeah.
think with without even allowing a restriction on all the brands on tiles and all the brands on sanitary ware, you can attract you can charge $500 for putting a normal sanitary ware. You need to show brand. You need to show brands in the space. If you want to charge a $50 room, okay, so then you are attracting even the tourist also. You can attract this, not the spending tourist. You have to low spending tourist only. You will be still be investing. But we should be looking at coming out of it and attracting high spending tourist, where you can charge them $500 or something like that. But to charge a $500, even the tourist should feel the value for money, right?
Yeah.
So those are important. So your policy should not looking at only safeguarding three manufacturers. It is a much wider spectrum what we have to look at.
Got it. Now, when it comes to imposing of cess, so you mentioned it's 500 rupees per
520 rupees
rupees
per
per
square
square
meter.
meter.
That's about 10.763 square feet.
Yeah. And now instead of like applying it either and on sanitary ware, it's per kilogram, right? So is it, I mean, what is more harmful or what is better? Is it imposing like a fixed price per kilogram or is it a percentage? And can you explain the difference? I mean, how does it impact in terms of your decision making? Because as you said, when you impose
Unit rate.
unit rate, you may be, if it's per kilogram, you may thinking of importing something low weight and that will deteriorate quality. So likewise, can you shed some light on based on either the percentage or a unit value? How does it differ when it comes to the importing decision and for the end consumer?
See, as a importer, we will be liking unit rate, but it's not our liking alone which matters here. See, the stability of the market. See, we are only focusing on a 2 by 2 tile here, and we are talking about it. There are large formats. So if you apply a one unit, you can't be applying duties for only for HS code. You can put a tariff. You can't put a tariff for 2 by 2 tile separately, 4 by 2 tile separately, and 80 by 80 tile separately. You
Agree.
can't be doing that. So it has to be simplified on the tax collection basis for the revenue side also. So that's the reason they come out with a percentage.
Right.
Or you understand.
Yes.
So if you put a see, 520 is not a unit rate, it is only a formula, but if you cumulatively see, it also comes into percentage only.
Percentage.
Yeah.
So you prefer a, unit rate.
Now I
You
prefer unit
unit
rate,
rate,
but
but how it has practically how it
practically,
has to
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
No, I mean for cess, I understand. For it comes under HS code, so there has to be a percentage. But cess can also be applied either as a 520 rupees per square meter, or like as another, because some
No,
cess are
actually,
available
no. Actually, the formula is like this: 520 rupees per square meter or 35%, whichever is highest.
higher.
So they have this threshold working so that it goes to 520 square meter. So the
Right.
formula has been manipulated in such a way it goes to 520 per square meter.
Okay.
It says 520 per square meter or 35 rupees per 35
Okay,
percentage.
so that means when you calculate 35% of the CIF value, it doesn't come to 520.
Exactly.
So because of that, you are falling automatically to the
520
520.
exactly.
Okay, right, got it. Thank you, Mr. Vignaraja. Did I miss anything, or do you have any other thoughts that we should know about the tile imports, sanitary ware imports? And okay, one more question. What are the global brands? Because you said that for an example for tourism that you have to have like
Definitely. See,
premium brands,
for
and is
sanitary
it
ware,
available for Sri Lankans, the
it
premium
was
brand?
available.
Now is it
It
no
was
longer?
available. Now we are not able to promote because none of the hotels have started refurbishment on first count. They have to start. The government should bring out policy. See, when you are attracting tourists, you have to be prepared. Otherwise, we are going to have a very bad experience with the tourist. So you might attract them, we might get a negative review about our country. First, prepare the country, prepare the rooms, prepare the spaces with the international standards. Okay, so when it comes to international standards, you need to encourage brands. You can't be having hundreds and 200 percentage of taxes to discourage brands. You have to have some sort of a scheme to give them some concessionary thing so that the rooms are up to the international standards. Okay, so the people start, it's affordable for them to charge more, make more money from the tourist also, and also the space, the tourist also feels the value for their investment on a holiday is also justified. So it's very important that way.
One more question, since you mentioned now, for my understanding, a lot of those big high-rise buildings, these hotels comes as a BOI project.
Yes.
So for the BOI projects, they basically directly source
Yes.
without any taxes all tiles and sanitary
Yeah.
ware.
Yeah.
Now again, when they are going to refurbish, is that still that same option is available?
Actually, during construction only they are giving,
Okay,
but now since there has been a stale market for about 4 5 years, government should ideally think of reintroducing for a temporary period to refurbish. If they are trying to, because BOI has been given only during the construction part,
part right.
not during the refurbishment part. So now they have to look at extending that services so that the spaces are again brought up to the international standards. So that is very important now.
So that means that, but you will not get any business because through the BOI, if
No,
they extend it,
not really like that. See, there are agencies because after sale service is most important. Even
right,
the brands, they don't want to sell directly. So
right.
tomorrow, a sanitary ware, there is a malfunction in the sanitary ware. A person from Italy can't be flying here. We should have spare parts for that. We should service that properly. And even as a hotel, because 3 days you are shutting down one room, $1,500 gone.
Yeah.
So it's important equally they support the local dealers also.
Okay, now one more question. Since you mentioned that, now when let's say a high-rise building or a hotel project comes, they have the BOI concession, so they basically import it. So when they import without any tariffs, is it comes under you? Do you or the members of the tile and the sanitary ware association works as agents, or whether most of the cases they
See,
directly
no, it's
source?
an open economy. It doesn't mean hard and fast rule that TSIA membership, okay? But as a see, when we are performing collectively now, more than 20, 30 years, we have been collectively working as a group. Now more and more members are joining our association because it's win-win situation. Since it's an open economy, it's not a hard and fast rule. It should go through only a TSIA member. They can also appoint,
Anyone.
they can appoint a plumbing company. It need not be a trader. You get me. There are different options where they can look at it, but it is how, because definitely a brand will need a visibility in the retail sector also. So giving to a plumber and giving to a retailer, it has different advantages and disadvantages, so they will take their call based on
No,
that.
I
Yeah.
just don't understand. There's no, as you very correctly said, there's nothing wrong with importing, but I just want to understand whether these big companies, because there was a conversation sometimes when you, especially when you get a project on G2G basis,
Okay.
they basically bring even the labor and everything from that particular country.
Yeah.
So even I just want to understand, when it's a BOI project, when they build it, whether do they have a, it may not be a member of the your esteemed
I know. I
association,
know. I know.
but is I mean, is it a, is there a way that do they directly source it, or whether it is also the business being also shared for the other
See,
importers locally?
both cases
Both
are there.
cases are
Both
there.
cases are there because there are certain projects, as you said, even right from a nail to the labor, everything has been outsourced. Okay, but such projects, when it comes to maintenance and refurbishment, those projects are struggling.
Okay.
But there are majority of the projects, I would say, a decent volume of projects which go through the local agents because they look at the future for their brand. So such people appoint local agents, and they want, because when they look at future, they handle it in such a way.
Got it.
Yeah.
Just final few questions. Final. I mean, when we speak, I get more questions
No
into my
problem.
head
No problem.
on the banking sector and the feasibility of opening LCs and things like that. Because at one point we know for vehicles how there are multiple ways that you can block imports.
Yeah.
One is, okay, having a high tariff, more cess, and also having asking for a 100% cashback assurance on
Cash
opening and
margin. Yes.
cash margin on LCs and things like that. Are there any restrictions on the banking front, and how is the LCs
Except
open?
for open account, no other restriction is there for tiles
Okay.
because I
Could you
think.
explain what open account is
Okay,
for
open
viewers?
account means the banking system doesn't take the responsibility. That is a simple term we can say.
Mm-hmm.
If it is LC or if it is DP or DA, it comes through the banking channel.
System.
You have to get, see, even customs online, you have to be connected with the bank. The documentation has to be connected. That's how it goes. And open account, the banking, the system itself doesn't get involved. It is the high risk of the supplier.
With
Frankly speaking, it is good for the local market. It is good. It is on our credibility. Supplier is taking risk.
this.
Okay, supplier is selling, the charges are relatively, banking charges are wiped out, so the product cost is more attractive. But banking sector, tomorrow if the importer doesn't pay, the importer and the supplier has to sort that out. You can't
Yeah.
go back to the bank and
Banking
say,
system.
okay, like that.
Got it.
So
So
yeah.
the assurance of when you're opening an LC is you're depositing money, so the supplier knows that you have already deposited the money. When the goods are being delivered, you can get the cash.
Get the
But when it's
cash.
open market, it's all based on the trust. You
Trust.
send the goods, you may not get the money, or
Money.
sometimes if this as a importer, you can first send the money, but no assurance that the goods will be supplied or not.
Exactly.
Got it. Did I miss anything, or do you have any final thoughts, Mr. Vignaraja? Anything that did we miss, or anything that you would like to highlight?
Most of it we covered. If at all, okay. One thing before we end it, we wanted to stress it. I want the government policymakers to look at. See, end of the day, they are they want both the industry to survive. Okay. Time and again, we I have seen that the stakeholders, not all the stakeholders are taken in for any discussion. Especially if you take the tile association members, from our part of side of the
Story.
statistics or whatever it is, we have not given a fair chance. This has led to several failure of their policies also. At the same time, I'm also saying please include the local manufacturers also. Please include the customs. Please include the Sri Lanka standards, Consumer Affairs Authority. You include every possible people into a meeting, and see, nobody is going to come to you with a bogus documentation saying our statistics are so and so. Analyze the statistics and data what we are providing. Take the policies accordingly. Why do you want to neglect a particular segment? Predeterminantly you wanted to make sure whether your policies are right or wrong. You wanted to take the policies and pass the policy later on to burn the economy. Rather than that, call, because as a citizen of Sri Lanka, we also have responsibility for the economy. So we are not an outsider or anybody like this. So our humble request to the policymakers, I don't say everybody, most of them, it's really welcoming these days. Most of our requests are being accepted and called for anything. But I would say before concluding any policy or anything like this, you have the facts and figures from the relevant party of the stakeholders on table transparently with all the stakeholders, and we come to a conclusion. Only then the economy will sustain. Instead of that, censoring one one party and making sure your agenda is established, it is a very poor policy decisions. That's what my request.
Got it. Thank you very much, Mr. Vigneshwaran, for joining us. As Advocata, we have highlighted multiple times on the challenge on cost of construction. In fact, we have done a report which is available on our website. We have not only analyzed Sri Lankan market, but also India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. We have analyzed on cement, on steel, on tiles, and the need for trade to bring down the cost of construction. Because it was the Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew has said, as a president, you have to keep in mind, you cannot, as a president, you cannot check everything, but there are few key indicators that you have to check. One is the exchange rate, the amount of money that the government is being printed, and one thing that he has also mentioned is your cost of construction, because that's basically determines whether you are growing or which direction that your economy is moving. So in that front, we have also worked quite a lot. You can easily access most of our reports and conversations and data on this market, which we have done, and that's why we are quite enthusiastic about this topic, because we firmly stand on bringing down the cost of construction, because it has a knock-on impact on many common citizens, because you build a house by taking a loan, which you have to pay another 10%, 12%, 14%, depending on which season that you get the loan. You have to pay an additional interest. So if you're paying 100%, 130%, 150% tariff on a certain product, of course you are having a knock-on impact afterwards, because you're borrowing money at 12% to pay that additional 130% tariff. So that is finally a big burden on a lot of Sri Lankans, and that's why in the entire lifetime that people build houses, and a lot of people are failing to complete their houses. And if you go just take a walk on the road, you can see ground floor is done, but you can see the concrete like spikes coming up, which are without being able to complete the house. So that is the reason why we stand for bringing down the cost of construction, but we give an opportunity for all stakeholders who are concerned about it. This is quite a common conversation that is basically coming out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dhananath. Thank you for Advocata also for giving us this opportunity and recognizing our association. And we look forward to work with you all for a long time.
Thank you very much. If you can follow us on social media, on YouTube, please subscribe. And we are also available on Sinhala and Tamil as Advocata Plus and as Advocata Kural. And we are not just translating the same content from Sinhala to English or English to Sinhala or to Tamil. Each content is very unique based on the audience, so make sure that you follow all our channels, and we are available on TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much everywhere in the social media space. And watch our content and subscribe us, and you can get our reports that we do by going to our website and click the support button, and then you can be a permanent subscriber for Advocata. Thank you very much again, and stay
Thanks a lot.
tuned for the next conversation.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.